What's going on? I am Nando.
And I'm DJ.
And this is Mostly Nitpicking, a podcast where every week we pick apart a piece of pop culture by looking exclusively at the details. Woohoo! This week, a movie that, I don't know, it's pretty much like the defining movie of the generation, a couple generations ago.
Yeah, I think so.
It's up there. I don't know exactly. I would say, like, this is up there. You know, like, Avengers is up there. Lady Bird, I don't know. There's a lot of good movies out there, but as far as movies that just, it was a media sensation. It captured the attention of the entire planet for a while. We're going to be doing The Dark Knight, 2008's The Dark Knight. But yeah, before that, DJ, how are you doing this fine day?
Pretty well. We're recording this Thursday, so Nando and I are very excited for the start of football. Quick shout out to our Survivor pool. I'm pretty sure you could still join up until Sunday. You just couldn't pick the Bears or the Packers in the pool this week. But if you'd like to join, we will do a movie request, but for real this time. And just how
we're going to do it for real the other one, too. We just haven't done it yet.
Sure we are.
Coming.
Sure we are. Likely
the moon
story.
is rising, baby. It's coming. It's coming. We're waiting until the 20th anniversary. We already missed the 10th. We just missed it by a couple of weeks. The week after, it was like such an obvious choice. I just didn't know that was a thing. But yeah, we're going to do it, I promise. And then we'll do whatever your movie is, too. And if you pick Moon, maybe we'll do Moon again. Take a second pass at Moon. Probably not, but who knows? There's a lot to it. Lots of characters. Mostly Sam Rockwell. Also Kevin Spacey. It's an all-star cast. But this week, we've got our March to the Joker series, which I pretty much 100% called the Dance to the Joker. I'm done calling, because he just dances. He barely marches. Even in a parade, he's dancing.
That's weird, right?
He's great at it. I got nothing to say to his dancing. If I could dance like him, I'd be excited that I could. Because he's really, really, really good at dancing. And I think it's a lot of dancing's about confidence, which we just got a lot of confidence.
I will say, in this movie, The Dark Knight, while the Joker does not dance per se, he does, do a little jig, kinda, at one point. So, again, not strictly a dance, but it's close.
He giddily high steps around a lot. Like, I don't know if it's, I would say there's probably a version of what he's doing. Like, there's a version of the word dancing that describes what he's doing. Like, he's dancing around the room, which is just him, laughing and, like, fancifully trucking around I don't know. There's a couple of points where he does something like that. Especially, it's like a lot of small things where, like, there's a scene where where one of the henchmen tries to take Batman's mask off, fails because the mask electrocutes them, and then he, like, does this fun little hop over, kind of. Which I wouldn't describe as, like, a dance, but if, like, my cat did it, I might be like, oh, my cat's dancing, It's like that kind of thing. It's all up to interpretation. But yeah, I think before we get to that, though, I do want to address a couple people pointed this out to me in a recent, two things. Okay, in a recent podcast, I mentioned that the guy who did the voice of the Batman in the Dark Knight Returns animated movie based off of the comic was bad, and in that I named him either Frank Weller or Frank Welker. I can't remember what name I gave him. It was pretty clear that I didn't know who I was talking about, or I knew who I was talking about, but I have a feeling I mixed the two names up because there are two actors. There's Frank Welker and Peter Weller. Frank Welker is the guy who did the voice of Scooby-Doo and Megatron, and he's one of the great voice actors of our time. Peter Weller is RoboCop. Peter Weller is the person that did the voice of Batman in The Dark Knight Rises, and he wasn't all that great. So, everyone knows Frank Welker is great. He's great. Other thing. This week, there was a meme that popped up about Spider-Man. DJ, did you catch any of this? Someone saying,
I did
the
not.
Greatest Spider-Man scene of all time? Oh, man, so fun. So, Twitter loves Spider-Man to, just a J. Jonah Jameson level of just obsession. And I think now that Spider-Man's back in the news, or at least was, there was a lot of conversation about, who does Spider-Man best? Is it Sony? Is it Marvel? Is it the Andrew Garfield Spider-Man? Is it the Tobey Maguire Spider-Man? Whatever. Who does Peter Parker the best? Who has better CGI? And there was a GIF or like a YouTube like clip that went around YouTube or Twitter, and the like caption that introduced it was, "Man, this scene really gets Spider-Man." And it was like, I know this movie isn't very good, but look at this scene. And the scene was that scene where in Amazing Spider-Man 2, Spider-Man's just swinging around. It's great looking swinging. And then a kid's getting beat up and he helps the kid with his little science project. That's like, that's a pretty good Spider-Man scene.
Oh, look at that. Oh, cool.
Maybe not the best one ever, but definitely up there. Definitely the best scene out of that horrendous movie. But someone else put a version of that out where they had the same caption, but instead they did the scene where Spider-Man is making his conspiracy wall. And a bunch of people reminded us that we love that and everyone loves it. And Marcus from Cosmonaut Variety Hour loves it. And it's a great scene that has no faults. It was just really fun to revisit that. Everybody that tweeted that to us, thank you. It's terrific.
Yeah, that's pretty awesome.
If anyone wants to go back, I forget when we did that podcast, but it's a really fun, our Amazing Spider-Man 2 podcast.
Oh my goodness.
Funny.
I couldn't even venture a guess as to when that was.
It was earlier this year. I want to say like February. I was, because I was up like late, couldn't sleep, and I saw some of those tweets, and I was like, I'll listen to that bit again. I listened to the whole episode. Cleaned the house at like 4 a.m. It was.
Did you listen to that song? The
For you.
Yeah, that's
Phillips.
it.
Oh, of course. I listened to our whole episode. I watched the scene several times. And that's really all you need to do. Really, you listen to our show, you watch the scene, and that's all the commentary that's necessary.
Yeah, and you get the whole thing. You're like, yeah,
100%.
Oh god,
and it's such a bad scene.
It's bad.
It's bad, and I love Spider-Man, and I appreciate risk-taking, but man, not good. Not good at all. I just felt like I had to mention those two things, as those came up a lot. But besides that, DJ, we're talking about The Dark Knight today.
We are.
An
excellent movie.
One of the best movies seen in a theater, first run, probably.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't even think I haven't seen like The Matrix in theaters and movies like that I'm like, that's a really good movie, but I don't even, it's bad, like I didn't see that in theaters. Like, and I guess I saw like, Batman 89 when I was 1, so I'm not counting that one either. But I think there's enough great stuff about this movie that I completely understand why it has become the like cultural touchstone moment, whatever, that it is. And yeah, I mean, I think parts of it are better than others. I think some parts of it, you watch the movie and you're like, oh yeah, there's a whole bit where this happens. Isn't that strange? But I think that's just a credit to how good the Joker in this movie is and how bad the parts of the Joker, or the parts of this movie that are not in the Joker, seem in comparison.
Yeah, sure.
It's where Batman's around and you're like, well, what's the Joker doing right now? Can we check on him?
Do you think the Joker is the unequivocally like best part of this movie?
Yeah, gotta be right. Who else is in there that's like fun? Not really anybody. Gary Oldman's accent is fun.
Yeah.
It makes a bunch of cameos during scenes where Commissioner Gordon is shouting.
Alfred's got some moments.
This is a good Alfred movie. There's just, I love this movie. I gotta say, I love it. There's so much, not like fluff, but things when you go back and like, I love the part where he uses a gun to determine the kind of bullet that hit the concrete.
Oh, that part's velocity. So weird. And it barely makes sense.
It doesn't even matter. He just goes to a room where a window opens and then someone shoots a character that didn't even really get shot. But yeah, I mean, obviously, like, Joker's definitely the best part of this movie. But I think there's other parts of this movie that work a lot better than other parts of this movie. Like, there's some parts of this movie, I think this is pretty solid. I think Christian Bale is a pretty solid performance here. I would say better than, I don't know about better than Begins, but probably better than like The Dark Knight Rises. Just like his Bruce Wayne and his Batman. It's very like fun and focused, and I just feel a lot of the moral dilemma. I think the action set pieces work the best out of any of the three of these, the Nolan trilogy. where like there's things like chases that are done on a practical, like they're actually flipping over the truck or whatever. And I think that works really well. Whereas they do other practical effects in future movies and it looks fine, but also it's like, well, what did you like the bit with the, where everyone's just, when they drop the plane in the beginning of The Dark Knight Rises, and it's like they really did drop the plane. And I'm like, well, that's a weird thing for a Batman movie to do at all. It's kind of cool, but like a sweet car chase and making the best car chase, that's like solid Batmaning. You know what I mean?
I agree. That's like core Batman.
Yeah.
There's a one part of this movie where it kind of blends really well, where there is the Batman, or Bruce Wayne is sitting in a chair in the Batman suit and he has his mask off, and it's right after Rachel dies, and there's a weird blend of the characters there, and that's the kind of different things that this movie does that's like does really well, like kind of putting that whole Batman Bruce Wayne dichotomy, like he doesn't really want to do this anymore, and while that's not always quintessential Batman, it's done very well, better than dropping planes in Dark Knight Rises.
Yeah, I think this movie did a good job of like realizing the very important like core Batman qualities. And I think I really give, like, I like Dark Knight a lot. Personally, I like Batman Begins better. I think Dark Knight does a really good job of building on the things that Batman Begins does right. So, like, Batman Begins was the first Batman movie, really, besides, like, the animated ones, which obviously did a great job with this, but, like, really worked hard to define Bruce Wayne's philosophy on a moral level. Whereas like in the, in Batman and Robin, like the one with Mr. Freeze, Batman didn't kill people, but it seemed like more out of, convenience. And also he did sometimes. But with this, they really put effort into like figuring out what this character is all about. And I think Batman Begins, obviously, I think did the whole movie was about that. But this movie did a good job of making that, like taking that idea and making it more complicated. And it's just, I think the great thing about The Dark Knight is it's so easy to see how well it did at things, because then they did them again with The Dark Knight Rises and it did them a little less good. You know what I mean?
Oh,
it's in
yeah.
a perfect spot for like comparison.
And you really don't need much to watch it in terms of like previous stuff. Like there's stuff you can kind of infer and get. Like it's not a requirement to see Batman Begins ahead of time. It's a nice isolated movie with its own problems, and because that's the other thing with Dark Knight Rises is that Dark Knight presents you with like a bunch of resolutions and here's how we ended, blah 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 blah, and then they all come back in Dark Knight Rises. Like in Dark Knight, it's like sometimes it's better to lie, and then in Dark Knight Rises, it's like no, you lie and you get screwed. Like stuff like that's kind of weird.
I do think the one thing that might get me a little confused, having not seen the Batman Begins, like just Batman Begins, but starting with Dark Knight, and maybe having a passive knowledge of Batman, like not really being a huge fan, but having consumed him, like media, Batman media, kind of saw a movie left and right, but never really went out of my way. I'd have a really hard time figuring out this Scarecrow cold open if I didn't know who that character was and what his deal was. But other than that, once the movie actually starts going, they do a pretty solid job of making this an actual movie that exists on its own. And like we were saying, thank God they didn't name it Batman Begins 2, Batman Returns again. They gave it a new name, Batman: The Dark Knight Rises. They didn't even do that. They could have, or The Dark Knight, they could have really gone overboard with it, but instead, Christopher Nolan had a real vision, called it The Dark Knight. It's a great title.
Yeah, I agree.
And is that the last line of the movie?
Right? Yeah, like a Dark
Gordon,
Knight,
a silent
like that,
protector, a Dark Knight.
A Dark
bomb,
Knight, yeah.
bomb, bomb. Yeah, great score. Although honestly, I can't tell any differences between it and the Batman Begins score. That's the thing. Like there are some things that are really good about this movie, but I'm like, is that just the thing that was good about Batman Begins, and they kept doing it? Like, because like the score is one that like you're like, oh yeah, but that is super similar to the Hans Zimmer score from Batman Begins.
Yeah.
DJ,
yes.
I want to start with this. I don't even know. When did you see this movie? Did you see it in theaters?
I did. Not only that, I saw it twice back to back. I saw it like on a Friday and a Saturday. Yeah.
Oh, I thought you were going to say you saw it and then you just sat down and you stayed in your seat, waited for them to start it again.
No. No, I was so enamored with it and I loved it. Like I went like opening night with a bunch of people and then like someone was like, I want to go again. And I was like, yeah. So.
Oh, Don't get me started. I saw Batman Begins 3 times in one weekend.
Ooh.
The opening weekend. Yeah, I want to say I went with a good friend of mine from this because this came out when I was like in high school.
It was like
went with a good friend from elementary school, 2005. Because I'm talking Batman Begins.
Oh,
Dark
right,
Knight
that
was
right,
2008.
That's right.
I saw Batman Begins in on Friday. Friday came out with a friend from elementary school, loves comics. Then I think I told other friends, I was like, guys, this is really good. Let's see it on, Saturday from high school. So I went to high school friends. And then Sunday, I'm pretty sure I convinced my sister to go with me. So I saw it a third time. And it holds up. I could watch Batman Begins like right now. I would just be like, yeah, I'll watch it. It's great. It's one of my legitimately one of my favorite movies. And I think I like it more than this just because it's a little tighter. I think this movie, the plot gets kind of unwieldy at points. Specifically at the very end. I'm not a huge fan of some of the things they do, but there's just so many bits of it that I completely forget until I see it again, because the Joker bits are really memorable, and then the bits where not Joker are less memorable. And also there's just so many weird things about this movie, like that Batman invents a surveillance system that like comes and goes in about a half hour, and you're like, that's crazy.
That's way too much. Yeah.
It's insane. It's just like, I made it. You got a surveillance system. You don't want to do it anymore? We don't have to. Was it completely useful and helped me find the Joker? Yeah, I guess so. No one man should have this much power. But I guess they do equally weird stuff in the next one where he's invented like nuclear fusion via a big circle or whatever.
Well, we're not gonna.
No, we're not. That's
that old movie's problem.
Yeah, it's this movie. It was like it's one of the highest rated movies of all time. It made an insane amount of money. Oh God, I hit that mic real hard. Let's see. If you had to guess, what do you think the budget was?
$70 million, $80 million.
I would say it's gotta be over 100. 185 million.
What? Oof.
They put money into it. They had stars. Kind of. I mean, like, Heath Ledger and Aaron Eckhart were stars, but they weren't like, Tom Cruise at the time. But they got their money back because it made $1 billion. But it was a very big movie at the time. And yeah, it's the highest grossing Batman movie of all time. I believe it's the highest grossing DC movie of all time. Like, it's insanely successful. And it's good. It's really, really good.
I have to so do you think that this is the best Batman movie of like all the, not the animated ones, just the like person Batman movies? Is this the best one? Just bar none?
So I heard someone describe it. I was talking to someone this week who said The Dark Knight is the best movie with Batman in it, but it's not necessarily the best Batman movie. I think that's kind of accurate. I would say I think this is a better movie than Batman Begins, just in terms of performances and all that stuff, cinematography. But I think Batman Begins is a better exploration of Batman's character. And I think just it presents a more interesting Batman to me. Not necessarily because he's simpler, but because I think the movie... I think Batman Begins is a movie about Batman. Like, it's like,
right,
there's nothing else going on but Batman. And this, I really feel like it's splitting the action 3 ways between Batman, Joker, and Harvey Dent. And
so
I don't
much.
think Batman gets lost in the shuffle necessarily, but I don't think it does a better job at telling a story about Batman than Batman Begins did because of a lack of focus, maybe.
Okay.
But I think it's probably the best movie with Batman in it. I mean, who knows? Maybe Suicide Squad. We haven't seen it in a while, and maybe it's this Joker movie. If there's like a child Bruce Wayne in it, maybe. Who knows?
Oh, I hope not.
Well, don't get your hopes up to hope not, because maybe it'll be in there. There's a shot in the trailer that kind of looks like it is a child Bruce Wayne, but who knows, man? I know. Lucky us. We're getting everything we want. It's okay, DJ. Someone I know has a cousin that said it's really good. So I trust them implicitly.
That's true. I don't know where you heard that from. That sounds silly, but it's true.
I heard it from Joaquin Phoenix. He's Joaquin's cousin. Yeah, together they are Waka Flocking Phoenix. Because of, they named him after Waka Flocka. He's a 1-year-old. Yeah, he's very talented though. I think he's gonna go places because he can speak to people like me. I guess he would have to send me an email. I don't know. Either way, this movie it was like, it really was the biggest thing in the world. And it's crazy because this 2008, and this came out, I want to say in like June or July. In May, Iron Man came out. So this was the peak of like the DC thing. It never would get bigger than this. And this was also the start of the Marvel thing. Like, this is where Marvel would start kind of taking over. And it's just insane that we had these 2 movies plus Speed Racer in a 2-month stretch. Like, super, just an insane time for movies.
You won't get off that Speed Racer thing ever, will you?
I mean, it's, you know, The Dark Knight has its good points, but... And it no bit does someone flip over a car, use the auto jacks in that car to pull someone else's car and midair toss it into a wall, do that with another car somehow, and then as he is flying towards the finish line, those cars explode, and he flies through a bunch of smoke and does a backflip. It's amazing. The end of that movie is just delightful. But yeah, no, Speed Racer's terrific. Came out 2 weeks after Iron Man. It was dead from like the beginning. There was no chance. Totally worth a watch. If I win the survival pool, we're doing that. We're doing Speed Racer, baby.
Oh, man. And the weird thing
Here
is
he
you run the
comes.
podcast, so we could do it at any time.
We could, but I would feel like I'm taking away from the, like, I'd be like, oh man, as much as I'd love to do Speed Racer, it would be more appropriate for us to do, you know, Star Wars, because a Star Wars movie is coming out, or 15 Joker movies in a row. But with this, I would have free reign to be like, you know what, screw it, we're doing Speed Racer this week. First, obviously, we'd have to do Moon, but then Speed Racer, which, listen, if I win the Survivor Pool, that means Moon is coming that next week so that we can do Speed Racer the week after, because I'm a man of my word.
Damn straight you are.
It's a quote from The Dark Knight.
Oh, that's right, yeah.
Yeah, I forget when he says it, but he says it at some point.
What do you think of, like, the lessons of this movie? Because, like, there's some interesting stuff here. Like, there's a legitimate part of the movie where it's like, lying is okay.
Yeah, I mean, lying is definitely okay. But in the context of, like, this is where I kind of stop loving the movie. Because, like, lying's always been okay in the Batman universe. Batman is lying to everyone. He's not a bat. He's a guy. He's Bruce Wayne. So, by the end of Batman Begins, we have to, as an audience, accept that lying to the public is the right thing to do. And I think a Batman movie can explore that, but I feel like it's weird that this movie is like, we're going to break some crazy new ground, and then we're going to set up a whole movie where the whole thing is just like, what if a figure in power lied to the public? It's like, that's what he always does, and it's always fine. We always just accept it. So I don't like, not to tip my hat, I enjoy Harvey Dent in this movie. I do not care for Two-Face. I think that is the one part, not one, because there's a lot of small parts like the bit with the bullet that, like, I'd be like, I probably don't need that.
Yeah.
Because it's a 2.5 hour long movie. It's quite long. But I think this movie...
They could have figured out to just go to the parade and be like, or the funeral? Yeah, like the funeral parade, and been like, hey, someone's probably going to try and shoot somebody here. Why don't we get on that?
Batman uses a sonic radar detector to find a gun. Oh, there's the gun. I'll go over to that window. Whoopsies, it's got a timer. The end. Same thing with Lau in China. Just, I gotta go get Lau, and then cut to, I got Lau. Kind of like the Winter Soldier, where Cap and Widow go to Falcon's house, and they're like, we need some help. And he's like, I've got this suit. It's at Fort Knox. It's impossible to get. And they're like, okay. And then the next scene, they just have it. Like, I think there's some stuff we could just cut, understanding that Batman is awesome and he'll be fine. Like, I don't need to see him extradite a guy from China. Just assume he did it. He's Batman.
But it's so cool.
It's kind of cool. It's a little weird. I don't know. There's some of the things that Batman does in this movie that I'm like, is that a Batman thing? Is this like this like ridiculous plan? It's not a Batman thing. I feel like Christopher Nolan has always wanted to make a James Bond movie. And every so often, a James Bond thing creeps into one of his movies. Same thing with Inception. He's always wanted to make a scene where guys on snowmobiles fight a guy skiing or something. But he could never quite figure out how to fit it into Batman. And I think if he could, he would have. But then he put it into the end of Inception because he's like, well, I mean, I love this. I think that feels like a James Bond thing. And I don't mind it. It's not bad, but it just doesn't feel like Batman doesn't go to China to get guys. It's like, He would just go get somebody in Gotham. There's no good. He could be in any country. There's no risk to Batman. Like, it's not like Batman gets caught by the Chinese government and there's a whole big plot point there. He could just be in a warehouse somewhere, Lao, and then just go get him. But yeah,
maybe
that feels
yeah, the U.S. government shut down his visa. Oh, he's hiding with heavily armed guards. Like, okay.
Yeah. Same thing with the Bane plane sequence. That's a James Bond sequence that Christopher Nolan has always wanted to put in a James Bond movie, but he couldn't, so he put it in a Batman movie, which is fine, but it's like smacks of not being Batman to me. And there's a lot of points in this movie where I'm like, it's not a Batman. Like, whenever Batman leaves Gotham City, I'm always like, why is he doing this? That's not what Batman does. He lives in Gotham City, fights crime in Gotham City. It's like, well, I guess to do this weird little hot air balloon escape thing, he had to not be in Gotham City, because otherwise he would have just flown from rooftop to rooftop. But yeah, where are we going with this? It's a good movie.
Where are we? Yeah, we keep saying how good this movie is, but then we're just like,
we got to talk about the Joker.
We probably should. You're right.
Mostly in it. The story here, Heath Ledger was on a roll. He had done Brokeback Mountain, the cowboy love story movie or whatever. I've never seen it, but I've heard it's fine. I've heard it's good, but it got a lot of attention, and it kind of took this guy that was in the 10 Things I Hate About You kind of romantic comedy zone, and put him in the serious actor, kind of like, oh, is this guy really act, and should we be taking him seriously? And then he got this movie, and there was nothing but stories on set of him like locking himself in his hotel room and, just taking it so seriously, and it's going to be a Joker. It's not your father's Joker. It's going to blow you away. And then right before the trailer came out, or maybe right after, Heath Ledger died via, was it some sort of overdose something, I think? I don't remember.
I definitely should have looked this up ahead of time.
I guess it doesn't matter. For some reason, he died, and
accidental intoxication from prescription drugs. All right.
There you go. It brought the fan base to a nuclear level of oh my God, this is going to be an insane, not event, but just the situation. This is never going to happen again. Where we have already heard that this Joker is amazing, and this is the only time we're ever going to see it. I believe I have read that Joker was going to be part of The Dark Knight Rises. Maybe not the main villain, but he was going to be in there. But then they just he couldn't be, because Heath Ledger died before they could shoot The Dark Knight Rises. So
right,
it was just a really interesting moment and situation. And they had filmed everything, so they had they didn't need to digitally reconstruct his face or any of that nonsense. And it wasn't a completely new take on the Joker, but it was very different from all the Jokers that had come before it.
Yeah, I'd say so. It's so different from the Jack Nicklaus one, obviously from the 60s Batman. And it plays into more of that chaos theme, right? I'm just an agent of chaos. I don't have a plan. I'm just a guy who's, just trying to shake shit up.
Yeah. I mean, he's very, because I think the progression from Cesar Romero in 1960s to Jack Nicholson in the 1980s to Mark Hamill in the 1990s is very linear. He gets more menacing and more psychotic as time goes on, but he's got he's very performative. He takes himself seriously, but he's still cartoonish and not larger than life, but completely unrealistic. He would not exist in the real world. And I do think this was it was a handbrake turn into okay, well, we're still going to take all of that stuff that was established by these other versions of the character and the character from the comics, and we're going to strip it down to the point where it's what if someone actually tried to do this and didn't, although, I mean, there's a lot of stuff this Joker does. It's pretty unreasonable, but not unreasonable, but I mean, just unbelievable in terms of how did he possibly pull this off, but in terms of just he's just kind of a guy. He doesn't have a magic gumball machine that he can shoot at City Hall or whatever. He's more or less a human being. I think Agent of Chaos sounds very much like a James Bond villain, but it really, I mean, I've felt this forever. and I'm sure people have talked about this before, it really seems like so much of what Christopher Nolan wants to do is just make a James Bond movie. And I think at this point, it's like, don't bother. You're bigger than this James Bond franchise. They're only going to hamstring and just make your movies and just put all your James Bond tropes in them. But this feels so James Bondy, as like it's an enemy that James Bond has to fight because he's like, because this Agent of Chaos thing, I don't remember this being like a gigantic part of the Joker story. I feel like the psychological Batman manipulation has always been a big part of it. But this, like, I don't know, part of it feels kind of unusual to me.
Yeah, I think that's fair. I think one of the things that's in play, though, is that, you know, you're making a slightly different kind of Batman, right? Like, that's like with Batman Begins, it's like, I don't know about a different take on Batman, but it's not super traditional to the whole origin, like where he, you know, becomes a ninja and like a runaway. And
I think I would say the ninja, I mean, because the Ra's al Ghul stuff happened in like the 70s, 80s. I think that's not like the origin isn't exactly the same, but I think it's pretty, because I would say, I feel like, and I've never read this and I should read it, but I believe I've read that a lot of The Dark Knight was based off of Batman Year One, which is a comic from,
okay.
Well, that can't be right. Oh, wait, no, it can. I read, like, Adaptations, 2005. So this came out in 1987. And this is kind of like a retelling of Batman's origin story. Not like his origin, but his, like, first year, I guess, of being No, I guess it does look like it's his origin. But I feel like there's enough of Batman's origin story that you could just kind of piece things together and be like, well, he's ninja training because he hung out with this ninja guy, so he was a ninja for a while. And his parents were killed and Gotham crime, whatever. That, like, by the time you get to 2005, I would say all of that stuff is pretty Joker specific. I don't know. I guess it's like this. First of all, I feel like the look of Joker is very different in this movie. Which, like, I feel like
for sure, it's very new.
If you showed it to a kid now, they'd be like, "Oh yeah, it's a no-brainer. That's what the Joaquin Phoenix Joker is based on." I'm like, "Yeah, but that's not what he looked like before that. He always had this like updo haircut, kind of like Fonzie-looking thing, and he was a very put-together, fancy clown. Like that was his whole deal. And this Joker's very like worn out and ragged, and he's seen a lot of stuff. It's never super clear what it is, but that's like the that's like the idea of it. I would say, I don't know. There's just, there's some things about this Joker that feel like a departure. Not to say that they're like, bad or anything, but just looking at everything about this movie, it's very, I don't know. It's interesting. I like him probably more than the rest of them so far. It's hard because Hamill's Joker is the best one because it's just the best. There's so much of it to enjoy. And it's such a good medium between this one and Nicholson and all the bad ones we're about to do, like Jared Leto and stuff. But I don't know. I mean, do you think, like, I feel like this Joker too is such a departure from the first three that we've talked about that it's going to be hard for me to call this the quintessential Joker because
interesting
I don't
take.
think it is. Yeah, like it's the one of the best takes on the Joker, but it's definitely a take as opposed to like the platonic ideal of Joker, which I'd say is closer to Hamill. I don't know. Do you not agree?
I think if you're gonna have a quintessential idea of a Joker, like I know we always first go to Hamill, but like, do you have to pick one that's in the like cinematic Batman universe, the one with people, basically?
I mean, I think the Hamill version is the best representation of any one of the comic ones also. Like, I think that's why he's such a perfect... Like, he's probably not... Well, see, the problem with the Joker then is like, well, which specific comic run... Like, is it the Killing Joke? Or is it the... I don't know, like Dark Knight Returns? Or is it Long Halloween? He's in Long Halloween? Yeah. Right?
So I don't know.
I forget.
Let me throw something at you.
Yeah.
What if there is no quintessential Joker and that the Joker is always an idea up for interpretation?
I would say that's accurate until you actually... I think there's... See, that's the thing. I think that's accurate, except I think there are definitely quintessential qualities of the Joker that, like, there's just a couple of boxes I feel like every Joker has to tick. And with me, it's kind of like which one ticks them the best. So I think most interpretations of the character are valid, but I think there's some some things it just has to do. Otherwise, why? Because it's not necessary. It's kind of like with Superman. Because when I made my Superman video, I had this not argument, but like conversation with a lot of people. Is like, it's not that you can't make a Superman movie where he's not Superman, but like he doesn't do every single thing Superman does. But like at a certain point, it's like, well, why bother making it a movie about Superman at all if this isn't a thing he's doing? If he's not from Kansas, if he doesn't not kill people, if he can't fly, like, well, you're not making a Superman movie anymore. Besides the fact that you are calling him Superman, he is pretty much indistinguishable from the character. So like I think you can do a lot with Joker. I feel like he has to laugh. I feel like he has to make some sort of joke or something, which I think is one area that Jared Leto Joker really fails in, is he's just kind of a weird guy. But I don't think anything he does is like on a jokey sense. Like I think the best example of that is when a Joker pulls a bang gun out, which this Joker does versions of. And I think, I really do think the non-specific origin is a crucial part of the Joker, which obviously we're going to have trouble with in a couple movies. But I think that is, I don't not think that a Joker isn't the Joker if he has an origin that's defined, but it doesn't feel like, what's the point? They all have one except for him. That's what's cool about him. He's a mystery. He's exciting. He can do anything. He's a loose cannon. It's a wild card. I don't know. What do you think? Do you think there are specific Joker qualities?
No, and that's why I almost think when I think of the Joker, that it's... So you could either say maybe there is no quintessential Joker between all of them. All versions are valid. But just offhand, when I think of the Joker, I think of this one. Like, this is where my brain goes to first. I think the Agent of Chaos thing is an interesting play on it. Because it's not like... I mean, you could argue how much of the master plan, the whole, like, the ultimate, like, thing with the boats is that his master plan? But it just seems like the end of the movie and it's where it's going to go. But there's no, like, big thing where, I'm going to poison all the makeup and then hold this for hostage and make everyone hate Batman. Like, there is something genuine where he's just kind of going from place to place and figuring out, like, second to second to second. Like, it really feels like he has no plan, which you could argue is terrible.
But also, I feel like he does have a plan. See, it's hard with this Joker to decide what he's being honest about when he says, like, I don't have a plan. I hate planners. Well, you do seem to kind of have a plan, Joker. Like, this seems like it's part of your plan, right? Because at the end of the movie, he doesn't, like, he doesn't have an ideology necessarily, because he is, like, prepared to blow up both boats because, like, he just wants to. So it seems like he not like has a plan, but he's a goal, and he has a set of steps on the way to achieving that goal. So I don't know if you can necessarily call that a plan, where like he has a flow chart somewhere, but I think part of why this Joker is interesting is because it's hard to tell what he's telling the truth about and what he's lying about. Like when he puts a hand grenade in your mouth, it's not like certain that it's a hand grenade, like you never quite know what he's up to.
But is it even a hand, or does he even know if it's a hand grenade? Like, does he have a box of like regular grenades and fake grenades, and he's just like, I'll take a bunch of these today? You know what I mean?
I would argue that this Joker has a grenade. He knows. Okay. And I think the individual bit of this movie that almost proves that is when he blows up the hospital. Because he tries to blow it up, he's walking away, and the detonator fails, right? And he doesn't throw the detonator away and go like, I guess we're doing something different. He's like, no, this was supposed to do something. It's not doing it. And then it works, and then he's like, oh, good. That's what I was trying to do. Success. I think there are a couple moments like that, but I think that's the one specifically with me where it's like, this Joker... But I don't think that like disqualifies him from being a Joker or anything, because I think part of what's interesting, because I think what's interesting about the Joker, and the most interesting thing about him, besides the bats and clowns thing, which is stupid, like just the idea that like obviously Batman, like kind of like with there's supervillains where the villain is the ideological, like obvious opposite of the hero, right? Like Captain America fights Nazis because that's what he would fight. And then there's ones like this where it's like Batman fights clowns. He doesn't fight flies or whatever bats eat, or the predator of bats. He fights a clown. Besides that, I think the best way to describe whatever Joker you're doing is he's just the ideological opposite of whatever Batman you have presented. And this Batman is like a very and that's why I think this Batman, like, he has a code, but he does not have a plan, but he pretends to have a plan. He is frequently like on his back foot trying to be like, oh, I guess I'll have to do this, and he's making all of these moral compromises to keep peace in the city. Whereas you have Joker, who pretends not to have a plan, because that really messes with Batman. But in reality, I think he has a plan.
I think one thing, so I don't disagree necessarily.
Oh, good. All right. So do you want to get to our classic segment about recommendations?
Wait.
I gotcha. I'm a
right.
Joker agent of chaos.
So the one thing, so to your point, so it's not literal, like, oh, the Batman would eat, whatever. He would face the fruit, whatever, because bats eat fruit, I think. Oh, God. This is going to be horrible.
Some of them eat flies, some eat fruits. There's vampire bats, there's fruits bat. Yeah.
So it's not so literal, but you have things like it's the man who won't laugh versus the man who's always laughing.
Right.
It's something more like that. Well, whatever. But if you're saying that he might not have a. So let me just understand. Do you think he has like absolutely no plan, or if there is some kind of grandmaster plan that he's vaguely adhering to and he wants to get that shit done? Or is it totally just like, you don't think at all, it's just floating in the wind from place to place to place? Because I think it's some blend. I think there's an idea where he really doesn't know what's going to happen next. Like, oh, the detonator didn't go off. Oh, well, I'll fuck with it because I really want this to happen. But I don't think he's thinking, oh, in 2 days' time, like, I'm going to put these people on boats and then blow them up. Because we never see the thoughts of how it would go into that.
I think this Joker has a lot of irons in the fire, but I think all of those irons lead to the same place. Like, he has a destination in mind. I think he's made several plans where it's like, but the problem with the movie is I don't think a plan fails ever. I think every single thing, and that's part of the problem with this Joker.
I agree with that.
Looking at it from a plan sense, every single thing he does is exactly what he actually wanted, and he wanted to be here. So when you get to the end, it's hard to say, well, this is actually the point where he improvised, because it's not like he improvised having a guy have a bomb and a cell phone sewn into him at the same time he was in jail. That had to have been part of a plan. But I guess so, and I guess he like improvises the whole Two-Face thing, but I would say this Joker has a plan. I would say he's probably defined more by just like general like nihilism. Like, he doesn't care about himself or anything, and he's just trying to like get everyone else to feel that way. But that's why I think the Joker's main like defining trait in this movie is like luck. He's just the luckiest man that ever lived. I would say like he gets to a point where he's just got the gun against his head and he's like, yeah, shoot me, Two-Face. I don't care. Flip your coin. That's how this works. I'll be fine. I'm Domino, essentially. Like, not everything works for me. Which is the fun part about his character when you think about it in terms of like he's this sad guy who's like, oh, this city is bad and I'm going to expose how bad it is. And if I scratched 5 lottery tickets, I'd make $400,000 because I just cannot possibly fail. I don't know. I mean, I like this Joker, but I like obviously, and I think this is probably the general consensus, the performance is better than the character. Or like, the performance is where this Joker makes his money.
Yeah, for sure.
And the character is good as well, but I just don't think, that's just why I don't think it's the greatest Joker ever put to media, where I think Hamill's Joker probably is. Although I don't know, Joaquin Phoenix's Joker still hasn't come out, so who knows? And I haven't watched Suicide Squad in a while, so
I mean, no one prior to The Dark Knight would have thought that there could have been like a successor Joker to Jack Nicholson's, right? Like, that was the standard bearer, and that was the one. Like, I guess you could argue the Hamill Joker from the animated series, but I feel like the mainstream consensus was it was Jack Nicholson. But I feel like just something changed where after The Dark Knight, like, people really thought about Heath Ledger as the Joker. Like, that was so transformative.
I think I definitely think it's like, not to say like normies love this one, but the real fans. But I think this Joker just had a gigantic like cultural moment in a way that like the Hamill Joker never really did, because why would he? So I think you could say that like most people would see this as the Joker, and you could probably be like, close your eyes, think of the Joker, and I might think of this one, but I just don't think it's the greatest Joker. I mean, I also think but like the wall this one's bumping up against is he was only in one Batman movie, whereas the Mark Hamill Joker has been in a million things, and so many of them have been amazing, like with the really good Arkham games, which we'll talk about next week, or individual movies like Phantasma, Return of the Joker, or individual episodes of the cartoon, or, I don't know, McDonald's toys that say a really cool thing when you press the button. Like, he's just everywhere, to the point where it's almost like if you're aware of that Joker, he's so ubiquitous that it's hard to, like, it would be hard for any Joker to usurp him in my brain, and I would imagine in the brains of a fair amount of people.
So I agree for sure that in terms of a volume game, if you will, then Hamill's Joker just kills it. I still don't know if it's more ubiquitous. Actually, I don't know, because, you know, movies reach farther than, or like cinematic releases of movies reach farther than a lot of the mediums that Hamill's Joker was in. And I think, like, depending on the group you surveyed, you might, you know, hit a different note. Like, 80% of people in my group know about, you know, they think of Heath Ledger, but the other think of Mark Hamill, or these people think of Jack Nicholson, or maybe in 10 years when we're redoing this conversation, it'll be Joaquin Phoenix. Like, no idea.
I agree, and it will definitely be the back of Jared Leto's head from Birds of Prey, which apparently they had to film some scenes with the Jared Leto version of the Joker, but he wouldn't do it, so it's just the back of his head. I agree. I think this Joker checks almost every box for me. It's just I'm just not completely convinced in the character in the bigger picture, I guess. So I don't know. It's tricky.
Yeah, I agree. By the way, I did want to say I agree that he's like way too lucky, like an unreasonable amount of lucky. I think it's insane. I think though that the scene you were talking about in the hospital with the gun, I do feel like that's an interesting like aspect of, is this guy just like crazy enough to be like, yeah, I'll die, whatever, I don't care. Like, maybe he actually doesn't care about that stuff. I only bring that up because I find that interesting. Like, I think that's a cool character. Like, because you always feel like a Joker who truly doesn't care about living or dying, and like this whole Agent of Chaos thing is real and not total bullshit. I like that take as the Joker, because that also goes against and I think you mentioned this, but Batman is so calculated and planned and thinks everything out, and this guy's just like, whatever, man, we're just doing shit. I like that a lot. So
see, I agree. To an extent, I think the almost suicide via Harvey Dent thing, it's like I think most of what this Joker does is pretty calculated, and I think he just takes a lot of calculated risks, and like I was saying, he's just the luckiest man alive, but like in this risk, it is like either I die, and then I die, and then who cares? I don't care about anything. I'm the Joker. Or I live, and that propels Harvey Dent into this life of being a, guy who flips coins and kills people and sets him on this path of revenge and whatever. Like, I think that he's such a good manipulator, which is, I would say, probably this Joker's actual best quality. I mean, luck is really high up there, but like, he's good at manipulating people. I would say he just takes a risk where he's like, I have one way out of here. One way for me to win and to achieve my goal. I have to convince Harvey Dent to do something really stupid and kind of against character. So the only way I can do that is by having him flip a coin and maybe kill me. And if he does, then I lose and the game's over anyway. But if I don't, then we get to keep playing, you know?
I don't agree.
What?
So, all right, listen. The luck is a problem. It's absolutely a problem. But you can have a Joker who... How there's no proof, and yes, he could be lying the whole time. We just don't have any proof of it. But there's nothing from one sequence to another that shows that he knows what will happen. And yeah, a lot of luck has to come to make his plans work, and at any moment the plans can fall apart, which there's an argument to be made. I'd like to throw this out there, that might have been a more interesting aspect of the movie, is if the Joker actually failed from time to time instead of just constantly winning.
Without a doubt. And I would say like like, I would say, I feel like there's like some sort of theory of like existence or whatever, where it's like, you just cannot die because there are a bazillion different versions of you, like multiverses going at once. Every single one of them has some sort of like live or die moment, and you are in the one out of a bazillion where you just win every single one. You know, like you always come out on top, right? Like, I feel like this Joker is almost in that version. Like, it would be, I think for the mystique of the character, and because this is such a movie focused on Batman and his reactions to the Joker, it doesn't necessarily make sense to see the Joker lose. But I guess the only time the Joker loses is at the very end. And he's like, hey, by the way, Batman, I still won because of the plan that I set up originally. Like, he wanted Harvey Dent to do what he was doing. He knew Harvey Dent would do that. Yeah. It's not like that just kind of happened. He tells Batman, like, I have an ace in the hole, which almost kind of, like, when you think about it in terms of, like, cards, it is like I mean, this doesn't really work with cards, but, like, he's just taking calculated risks and playing probabilities, but, like, he's got different cards in his hand, and he's like, I don't know what cards are going to come up, but I think if I get this one and this one, I'm good. If I don't, then I have to use this one and this one to do this. I don't know. I'm trying to think of, like, I'm thinking of cards in terms of, like, Yu-Gi-Oh! I'm sure playing cards is some version of this as well.
So, okay, fair. Potential rewrite for this, by the way. If I could go DJ v movies real quick. So when the Joker gets arrested, he has not yet given all the gangsters the money, right? He didn't like do the whole money burning thing, right? That didn't happen yet, right? Nando, I'm trying to think.
I'm trying to think.
I don't think it does.
Oh God. So when he burns the money, he brings that one gangster in who is the last gangster.
Yeah,
he may have burnt it all by then.
No, because he's like, it's not about money, it's about sending a message. And then he does the weird, like, if whoever does... Oh, wait, shit, did he already? Damn it, you might be right.
Yeah, I think he did.
Never mind. My DJV movie segment is invalid.
I mean, I see where you're going. Or, like, there's just a version of this where we have to watch the Joker in real time figure out a way to escape from prison, which I think works.
Exactly. Like, yeah.
And I think then I would not necessarily be like, he's not a planner. It just really is like there's always a plan that is bigger than the Joker, that is like, well, there's a plan. It's not, he has like 50 plans going. Like, there should be, if this Joker is really the way he's working, like, not like a realistic version of this Joker, but like if you zoomed out, there would just be like fire hydrants exploding all over the city. That would be like hand grenades he planted just in case he was there and he needed a distraction at that moment. But he wouldn't be there. But like, you know, you just got a million different options for how things go. But yeah, I think if we had to, because really the explosion isn't really that important with that bit. Like, again, we're getting back to Christopher Nolan. Everybody's got to be a Bond villain. He wants this Joker to be this, like, all-knowing kind of, like, you know, just, like, 7 steps ahead of everybody. But I think you could work out a version where the Joker just takes this guy hostage, that he takes hostage in the jail, that's the cop, and then manages to escape somehow. Like, that he already does that. It's just that he's out of the room when the explosion happens. That is why he gets out of the room. But like, if you can be like, well, he tricks the cop into beating him up, then he gets him hostage, then he tricks the rest of the cops into letting him go, and then he leaves. The end. I think that's a reasonable version of the movie to go with.
But overall, as the character, right? Outside of the weird nuances in him being perfect. So you don't believe that this Joker, not that it's invalid, but like you don't think it's like the Joker. Like,
no, I don't. It for me is not the quintessential Joker. It will never. Like, I mean, it will never, but the Mark Hamill Joker is probably forever going to be the quintessential Joker for me. Just because, A, it's the one that I showed up to. Like, it's when I started caring about the Joker, it was that one. But B, it's just, there's just so much good stuff there. And I just can't. I mean, again, this isn't even my favorite Batman movie, so it's hard for me to be like, it would be hard for this to be my favorite Joker. Not that I have another favorite movie live action Joker, but you know, I think Batman Begins is a tighter script. I just think this movie gets really unwieldy at points, in terms of like its metaphors and stuff. And like I was saying, it ends twice, which I hate.
I'm with you there, but that's not a Joker thing. It's like a weird movie thing, right?
well, the Joker is like, the movie's not over yet, Batman. But yeah, no, it's like a movie. I don't know exactly what it is, because I think this movie could have just been the Joker, and then in the very end we set up Two-Face, but we don't do anything with him. And then he's like this menacing force that is out and about, and Batman now has to deal with. And he could do not necessarily everything Bane does in the next movie, but he could free people from prison. That's not an un-Two-Facey thing. He could flip a coin and be like, you're free, you're free, you're free, you're free, you're free. And he could have some sort of way to blow up I mean, if Bane can do it, why can't Harvey Dent? But it almost kind of feels like this movie was Christopher Nolan getting everything out of his like system, being like, I want to do the Joker, and I want to do Harvey Dent, and I want to do Two-Face. Like, I feel like we've talked about this in our previous show, Mad Bracket Status. Two-Face is probably my favorite Batman villain, and I feel like they really rushed him in this, and I don't know why, but it bugs me a little bit, and it bugs me that we're extending the movie to not like ruin Two-Face, but to a Two-Face that I don't think is all that great. Nobody remembers Two-Face from that movie.
No, and it's unfortunate. It is quite a good villain. And see, so that's another problem with this, is that the Joker takes up all of the oxygen in the room, which isn't necessarily a problem, but it does lead to the unintended consequence of there's not a lot of room for anything else, because this movie's kind of stuffed to the gills. And then,
yeah,
what do you do?
I mean, I think you could have a version of the end of this movie. Let's say Two-Face he's escaped, he's killed Maroni like he does in the movie via the car crash that should have killed him too, but whatever. I guess he was wearing a seatbelt. So all that happens. Joker leaves, I think you could just have a version of this where Two-Face and Batman are on the run. Two-Face is presumed dead, like Harvey Dent is presumed dead, but he's still going. Batman doesn't stop him, but he still does the whole, like, I need to be a silent protector and whatever, and protect the, like, I have to find Two-Face and stop him. But, like, that's saved for the next movie. As opposed to, like, let's wrap that subplot up to, because it feels real glossed over. I don't like a lot about the end of this movie. I think this movie starts really strong, and it doesn't, like, fizzle out or anything. This is a great middle, too. But the end is, like, he uses, like, sonic waves to fight a bunch of guys in a building, and then he, like, fights the Joker, and they have this... the end of this movie.
It's bad. We can admit it's bad. It's the worst part of the movie.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. Besides that 1 minute of bullets. Besides a minute where he shoots concrete, that's the worst part.
The utter nonsense is that, for whatever reason, this movie feels like it just gets wrapped up at the end very neatly and conveniently for little to no reason. Like, oh, Batman just kind of wins this time. I will say the people coming together to not blow up the boats, that is a kind of like nice thing where Batman's like, you're wrong, Joker. Not everyone's a dumb psychopath like you, but, kind of outside of that,
I feel like I think this movie takes the metaphors too hard, or like gets lost in the metaphors, where, like, I think Batman Begins has a very tight, like, philosophical, like representation of the philosophy of the movie in The Train, right? It's very, very simple. Ra's al Ghul is like, do you want to save everybody or kill me? And it's a trolley problem, and it's on the monorail that is built around his parents' legacy and blah, blah, blah. It's perfect. And it's a really good way to, like, crystallize the argument of that movie and Batman's entire, like, moral dilemma in one physical thing. At no point does Ra's al Ghul go like, what you have here, Batman, is the classic trolley problem. Kill one man to save 1,000 men. Are you willing to kill a man? And then Batman is like, it's wrong to kill one man to kill 1,000 men, save 1,000. But wouldn't saving the life of the one be? And just like they fucking go and go and go and go. And it's like, it's not poorly written, but it sounds like an argument in a college philosophy class of just like, there's no metaphors. They're just saying the things, and they're talking about these actual boats that actually exist, but it's not like, it's just not, I don't know. It's
not good delivery. Admittedly,
it's
poor
so
delivery.
On the surface, like what they're saying is what's happening, and it is the argument that they're both making, and the argument that the writers are making. The movie isn't doing that for you. It kind of is, but the characters are also making those arguments, which is, I think, probably where I think another place the Joker kind of loses me. He over explains everything, which is fine, but when he has to have a conversation with Batman, it always turns into this thing of like,
yeah,
you are this and you represent this and I represent this, and it's the problem is it's really like the scene where he interrogates him, really well acted, well shot, but like the dialogue, having watched it like a million times, kind of, especially in the actual ending, does not really work for me. And it's the bit specifically, there's one line where like, because it's not that Batman has like you didn't blow up the things, Joker. It's all okay. He's like, Gotham does have a soul, and Gotham's soul is good. And then Joker isn't like, oh, you're wrong. He's like, until that soul is corrupted by the darkness of chaos. It's like, oh, God. It's like a wrestling promo. It's just
but
it's everything.
It's also comic books, right? Like, all right, I shouldn't say it's comic books, but like it's Batman and Joker, right? There's a little bit of theater that goes into that. Even when in what we did last week, the Return of the Joker, Batman Beyonds, right? He's like, these are the things I did, and here's how you are, Brucey, you know, this is that, and that is this, right? Like, it's very similar.
I mean, I guess the best argument I have for that, or like, and again, I think Batman Beyond does that better with the monorail thing, but if you're just talking about like comic book words turned into movie metaphor, and this is why, as everyone knows, Endgame is better than Dark Knight. Just kidding. It might be, but who knows? There's a bit in the Infinity Gauntlet comic, right? Everyone is dead. Thanos is gonna fight Captain America, and Captain America goes up to Thanos and he says, as long as one man is standing against you, you'll never win. And Thanos is like, noble sentiment from a man who is about to die, and then he kills Captain America. But that's like, that moment is exactly what Captain America is like saying, and it's a comic book, so you use words. In the movie, in Endgame, Captain America just walks up to Thanos in a very like, you know, like stoic kind of like, he says it with the movie, and then the camera uses the camera to show one man standing against a whole army, and it's the thing. You don't need to say everything. You can just show it. And I think this movie does a lot of saying. And I think Christopher Nolan's movies frequently do a lot of saying, and sometimes I like it, and sometimes it kind of loses me. Like a movie like Inception, in the beginning of it, where characters are just sitting down talking about giving all the rules and stuff. And I think his movies just get more complicated than they need to be sometimes. I think that's kind of true of Prestige. I think that's definitely true of Inception. And I think that's the thing that separates Dark Knight from Batman Begins in my mind, is it started getting a little bit bigger than it needed to be. Although, I mean, that might not be Christopher Nolan. That could be Jonathan Nolan, or, you know, David Goyer, or one of the writers. But yeah, it's like, it's just a lot. Listen, it's a good movie. It's a very good movie.
It's
a great movie.
It's an amazing movie. It's phenomenal.
The acting is great. The cinematography is great. It's a great representation of Batman. It's a great representation of the Joker. It's also one of, and I mean, we've spent so much time on the Joker because we have to, because it's the most, you know, culturally important Joker. Whether it's the best or not, or best representation, it's kind of up for grabs. But as far as the world is concerned, there's no way this Joaquin Phoenix Joker will ever be bigger than the Heath Ledger Joker. However, this is also one of the most nitpickable movies of all time, because nothing in it makes any sense, and things happen, followed by other things because they have to. Like, it's bizarre. And I love it, but, and in the moment, the first time I saw it, I didn't really notice it. Like, I was just like, well, yeah, I mean, you know, whatever. That's how you escape a bank, right? You just drive your bus out the wall. But then future times, it's like, why doesn't he just have a car? Why doesn't he have a car outside? What the hell? Why bother with the bus at all?
It's very true.
Most people have the bus is slow. First of all, it would be covered in rubble. And second, there were no kids in it. It would, oh, sorry, we're looking for a bus. Oh, okay, here's 15 buses. Kids. Joker. Oh, I think we found him. This one's just got Joker and piles of money. Like, it's... And, like, I mean, this movie's been, like, plot holed to death, kind of. But it's still, there's so much of it. And it doesn't take away from the overall quality of the movie. But it is just, I think it's just fun to talk about, because it's one of the greatest movies ever made. And, like, so many bits of it make no sense. What's your favorite? You told me before we started you had a bit of this movie that you find really funny.
Yeah.
And you didn't think I'd be able to figure it out. Is it the fact that the Joker's standing on a street corner in full makeup without the mask on and nobody cares?
That's
Very first shot of the movie.
That's a solid one.
Blows my mind.
Not one of them, though. I was going to say, it is one of the most nitpickable movies, and I was going to say something good about the movie, but then I forgot what it was.
No Katie Holmes. Maggie
that's what it was.
A good Rachel Dawson.
When you and I was going to, so building off that, when you saw this for the first time, like when Rachel dies and you first see it, like that is brutal. It's a nightmare to watch, and it's done so well. You know what I mean? It's like one of those things like, how do they even do this? So, yeah.
Yeah, no, it's a good, like a lot of the execution of most of this movie is good. There's a couple of like reveals that in the moment I didn't understand. And then later I still didn't understand. Like, because these movies tend to get a little overcomplicated. The bit where it turns out James Gordon faked his own death so that he could pretend to not be a normal SWAT cop so that he could capture the Joker, and he whips his mask off like, aha, Joker, you thought you killed me, but what do you know? You didn't. You killed a bunch of other people, and it's me, your fatal nemesis, Commissioner Gordon. Like, who cares? What the hell are we doing? Like, when those reveals work, they're great. When they don't, I'm like, what the hell? Did I miss something? And I don't know what the deal was with that. His wife, he comes home and his wife smacks him, and I'm like, well, I mean,
yeah, but of course.
You did a bad thing, dude.
She should be the most upset.
It didn't get you anything. It's not like, even if it was just like he went into hiding, you know, he did witness protection or something and he came back when the Joker was caught. I get that. You'd be like, listen, honey, I couldn't. But that plus this little hero moment of like, I got the Joker. That's the part I think that would piss me off as Mrs. Gordon is that bit specifically, the reveal. But hey, got applause from the police, so great.
I have to say, and then when he says, "We got you son of a bitch," like, that was fun. He takes out the message, "We got you son of a bitch." Isn't that fun?
The Joker, like, speaking of reveals, the Joker also kills a bunch of characters in this, like, little death montage that's insane. They all happen at the same time, and he, like, poisons a guy? He poisons, is that the mayor?
The old commissioner, I think.
The old, right, yeah. He poisons him with like acid, or I'm sure in real life there's some version of that that's like real, but like, I don't know. Just like, if we're talking about just like things that he does that are pretty implausible, that may be my big one, and it doesn't stick out as like that crazy of a thing. But like, how long has that been sitting there? Could that have happened at any point in the plan, or like, you know, what happens if he doesn't drink that? I guess Joker just has another plan because he has a million plans, but like, man, there's a lot of like moments like that where I'm like, what is this? What are we watching? All right, so wait, what's your favorite moment in this movie? The funny one.
Okay, I find it very interesting. And I don't know if it's like a funny moment, but I do find it fairly interesting. The Russian that Bruce Wayne is seeing, she is very pro-democracy, and I find that interesting.
Oh, yeah. She's nice.
Like, yeah, and she goes, Gotham does not deserve to have a vigilante running around. It's like, wow, what a progressive Russian.
Yeah, and you know what?
What's going on?
That's one of the things I love about this Bruce Wayne. He can go to a dinner and just have like a little chat and like about the Batman philosophy, and I totally buy it. I like his Bruce Wayne better in this movie than the other one, mostly because there's not really that much of it in the other one. He's very focused on being Batman, and there's that one scene where he buys the hotel, and I think it's cute, but it's not as good. But in this one, when he's just being a socialite and having dinner and like giving crappy speeches about like how much, like, you know, negging Harvey Dent and that all that stuff is terrific. That is fun. I think my favorite bit, I'll give you a small hint. My favorite bit from this movie as like that's funny, comes during the Harvey Dent fundraiser that turns into a Joker hostage situation. It's a really quick thing, and I think it's so funny.
Is it something he says to like the old guy?
No.
Is it when he like exaggeratingly like drinks the champagne but like not really?
I love that, but no. I think that's so funny. I'm just like, no champagne for me. No, it's the bit where so the Joker has started doing his business. But Bruce Wayne is not in the main room. He's like off to the side or something. He runs away. he runs into a room in his apartment where some people are hooking up. And he goes and he touches a wall, and a wall is revealed to be a door. And he goes in and like, oh, he's got a safe house, thank God. And they just closes it on him, and they're like, ugh.
What a
Bruce
dick.
Wayne's a dick. Yeah, that's so funny. And
yeah, it's pretty good.
As far as like the only thing, not the only thing, but I think that's right in the vein of like this, like the bit in Batman Begins where the guy sees the Batmobile, like the homeless guy, and he's like, that's a cool car. And then it blasts a hole in the building. He's like, oh, I think it's like that in terms of like, it would be weird to see some of these Batman things. Like, it would seem cool, and then it'd be weird. Because Batman's weird. He's a weirdo, and we shouldn't like him. And that's my hot take here. I think Batman is an insane person.
Yeah, I think a lot of people would agree with that take.
I'm on the side of fake Bruce Wayne socialite, where he's like, guy that runs around in the back clearly has issues. Like, he's not, he's like, everything he's doing is unreasonable. He's fighting crime. He's not fighting a criminal. He's not fighting the mob. He's fighting all of crime. He's not doing anything useful. He doesn't pick up litter when he's on his free time. He just stands on top of a building and looks for criminals. He's nuts. He's the worst. We gotta get rid of this Batman guy.
I agree with that
Batman
take.
Movie gets rid of him.
It's your best take of the night.
Maybe that's why
Joker takes.
Maybe that's why this new Joker movie is going to be the best one. Is it's not going to have this kook Batman in it.
Oh,
it's
yeah.
going to be pure Joker,
see
baby,
the real
all
hero.
the way. Yeah, yeah. I think all right, let's think of other stuff in this movie. What do you think is the most implausible thing the Joker does? There's some pretty bullshit things he gets away with in this movie.
The bus is such a good one because it's so but.
Unnecessary. It's completely unnecessary. There could be a car parked outside.
He gets into the mob hangout very early, and you'd think they have guards or something.
Right?
I just want to know
door
how.
policy.
Yeah, right? I want to know what's going on there.
And
Could they get a little more rigor?
Could he have just walked in there, like sent someone else in there with like a suicide vest or something? Like, because all he had to do was go in and they were all like, whoa, kill him. And then he said something weird, something interesting. And then Maroni's like, all right, let him talk. I want to hear this guy out. Yeah, no, it's insane how he gets in and out of there, especially since the bomb, when he has the hand grenades, right? He uses those as his escape, which like maybe they're real, maybe they aren't, although probably not, but who knows, maybe. When he leaves, he gets the hand grenade, stands up, takes the hand grenades. He's like, oh, maybe I'll pull him. He walks backwards towards the door. Just a normal door. To a hallway, I would assume.
Yeah.
And he doesn't just keep walking. He, like, turns and runs like, okay, I made it. Like, I'm out of view of them. Like, I think that kind of gives away the game that those aren't real grenades, buddy. And also, you know, I don't know. I just don't think this isn't a solid plan. What else? What other crazy things does he do in this movie? He does a lot of crazy shit. I mean, I think it's here's the thing about this movie specifically that like really, when I did see it, pissed me off. Joker's just a guy, right? Like,
yes.
He's not superhuman. He's not Bane. He's beating up Batman with one goon. Like, Batman should be able to take the Joker. I don't buy that the Joker and a goon can beat up Batman. I never have.
Even a really tired Batman?
He's not even that tired, though. He shows up at the party, punches up Joker a little bit, like punches up a couple goons, but like in that kind of Batman, like effortless, karate, you're down. And then I want to say Joker and one goon come. Joker like sucker punches Batman, but like, come on, Batman. They didn't teach you how to fight two guys in your ninja training? I'm pretty sure you can fight a lot of guys at once, buddy. You're the best.
Is it because the Joker is so unpredictable he can't predict his movements?
Right? He's got a knife in his shoe, just like a regular old Kingsman. Who could know what he's about to do? I don't know. A lot of the times some movies do that, where like the Joker, I'd like a Joker that has some not gimmicks, but like stuff. Right? Like in Return of the Joker, he had the Joy Buzzer, which is like, yeah, he's not a physical match for Batman, but if Batman gets in close for a punch, Joy Buzzer, and then he's electrocuted. Like, I think this Joker was missing one or two of those, so that the fights would be a little less, I don't know, just Batman kind of looks like a dork a lot in this movie. In points where
That's
I'm like,
fair.
Come on, Batman. You're better than this. I saw you kill the ultimate ninja master last movie. You cut his sword in half. You can't beat up a guy with a knife for a shoe.
It's unpredictable.
It's just so chaotic.
He had no way of knowing.
What other fun stuff happens in this movie? I'm trying to think of other stuff that Joker does. So the Joker has that bit. Okay, here's I'd say maybe not like the most implausible thing. in the real world, if I hired 8 goons for a robbery and I told each goon that they had to kill a different goon, except for one, I guess, who I just told, just do your job and wait. I think the goons would get suspicious, you know? Like, hey, you're telling me to kill someone. Does that mean you're telling anyone to kill me? Uh-oh. Like, this might not work out well for me. Like, come on.
I mean,
you could
argue. Well, but goons also never have foresight. That's not in their wheelhouse. They're like, money sick.
That's very true. And these are Batman goons. Like, these are the dumbest level possible of goon. Next to like, I agree. I think that's the part of it that I think lets you get away with it. It's just in Gotham City, everyone's a moron except for Batman and the main villain. All the cops are idiots. Everyone's an idiot. So, what about that scene?
Feasible.
Remember that scene where everyone's in court? Can't do
that's
right?
so funny.
I don't think they let you do that.
No, they don't. But it was funny.
Listen, Family Feud starts in an hour and a half. I think you want to get home. Can we bring in every single mobster real quick, and I'll just arraign all of them? No? Oh, okay. We got to do it one at a time, because that's how the law works. Damn it. I was kind of hoping. That's fine. We'll do them all one at a time.
No, it's that obscure, the whatever case, where it's like, you could try one, you could try them all. It's like,
that would be great, though.
Know.
I mean, just gets to get all the criminals in one room. And, like, reveal that it's at court. And then, you're all in court. And we're trying this guy in the ear. Yeah, you're all going to jail, buddies.
If you try one, you can try them all.
It's so bizarre. What'd you think of the Batsuit in this movie? Different Batsuit than the last one. More kind of, not like form-fitting, but more just not one giant piece of plastic.
Yeah, I liked it overall. It can handle dogs, so that's good.
Yep. And it has exploding wrist gauntlet, like, blade thingies.
Yep, also
Chekhov's gun wrist mounts.
Read the manual. Yes.
I like Morgan Freeman in these movies more than I've liked him in a very long time. Watching this movie made me reminded me how much I love Morgan Freeman.
He is great.
Back before this Paycheck Please Morgan, back when it was like average level of effort. It's so funny. He's got such a good wit for like this, like, sarcastic delivery. He's terrific. I was gonna say, it took me forever, like literally until earlier this year, to realize that. So Batman has his goofy sonic vision, and his eyes turn white when he does this. I didn't realize that was a throwback to comics. How Batman has white eyes.
Really?
That's kind of how people interpreted it. It's like that's what they were going for. I'm like, there's no way, because it looks so dumb and they look giant. Like his eyes look like little little televisions.
I was about to say static TV. That's exactly what it looks like.
Yeah. Like, I think the scene with the Joker, because I like the idea that when Batman is in full Batman like regalia, because another thing about this Batman movie that I think Dark Knight got a little less correct than Batman Begins. Batman looks better at night than he does in the day. I don't think showing Batman in not like in sunlight, but even in like a, fluorescent light bulb lit interrogation room, I don't think that works. Kind of like Jaws. I think the less you see of Batman, the better he is. But the way I think it works in the interrogation room is that his eyes are like these little beady dots, right? Because of the way they light Batman, you can barely see his actual eyes. You just see this little like demonic shape or whatever. And I think that works fine. I give him a little context. I don't know. The little flippy eye thingies are just bizarre.
Yeah, they were really amping up for the video game. Sort of
they
felt
really
were.
Oh,
what about when we get this in the video game?
It does. Oh God, the whole bit with it really does turn into a video game though at the end, where it's like, all right, Batman. Like, because whenever what's his name is the man in the chair, Lucius Fox, in that bit where he's not just being like, telling Batman like, here's how this works. Really feels like a video game where he's like, okay, player one, there's 5 thugs on floor 1. Beat all 5 thugs, then go up the stairs and you'll find more thugs. Get the green key and put it in the green door, and the Joker will be behind the door. Like, it really does turn into a video game. It gets really CGI heavy, which is never what I like from this series of movies. Like, they used to do there's some artsy CGI in Batman Begins with the like Joker or Scarecrow visions and stuff, but yeah, I do not care for it here.
Yeah, I don't think it works well at all, unfortunately.
What else? I think the car chase. Car chase is fun.
Yeah.
The motorcycle stuff.
Fun. Yeah.
I mean, overall, I did really like this movie. Like we're saying, Alfred's great. He's very funny.
It's a phenomenal movie. It's definitely, it's just so nitpickable. Which, does that mean, like, oh, this movie's so good, despite all its flaws, it still turns out as a great movie? Like, no one thinks this movie's like, oh, what the fuck is this? Blah, blah, blah.
To some extent. I think I just think some of these choices are strange. Like, obviously in a worse movie you would definitely feel it, and it's like I think the thing of movies and nitpicking movies, and my philosophy for it is like, if you watch a movie, your brain goes into the theater. I'm sure I've said this before. Your brain goes into the theater expecting to be entertained, and if the movie is bad or the movie is boring, your brain is going to figure out a way to entertain itself, and it's going to go like, that doesn't make sense, that's dumb. It's going to overthink stuff. But if the movie is so entertaining that you don't notice that stuff, then it doesn't really matter. I think it's still just fun to talk about. But I think in a worse movie, yeah, all this stuff would stick out like a sore thumb. Him driving the bus down the street would be a terrible end of a scene. It would be like the one of the worst like endings for an action set piece, if the action set piece up until then wasn't any good. But luckily it's good.
Hooray.
One more question. So like, here's something I noticed when watching this and thinking about Two-Face. I think there's a version of this series where there's no Bane and Two-Face is the bad guy in the next one. Do you remember the bit in, like, it's not real, but I mean in my head, like I like think that's better. Do you remember the bit where in the end of in the second one or third one, sorry, Dark Knight Rises, there was like a like the supervillains, or not even supervillains, but really just the villains have taken over the city and you know, whatever. One of them is holding a trial. Remember that? I say it's like Scarecrow is like being like doing trial stuff with that's a Two-Face thing. Where'd you even get off, Scarecrow, stealing Two-Face's bit? You hack. You jerk. Get out of here. This is like, I know people love Bane. I think Bane is fine. I think Bane's good, but I think all of the things that are great about Joker are pretty good about Bane, but I think that means all of Bane's nonsense, like all the crazy stuff Bane gets away with in the next movie, is a lot easier to see. Like where he's stealing all of Bruce Wayne's money via the stock market and everyone's cool with it. Or he's pouring concrete and trapping all the cops under the sea. It's like, god damn, that is just like, and it doesn't need to be like that. The plots of these movies are so complicated. That's kind of why I like Batman Begins. And in my brain, I kind of think maybe Warner Brothers was like, listen, buddy, I get that you want to have Batman fly this train into the sky, but what if instead he just rode the train? Like, we don't want to spend $150 billion on this movie, so you're going to just make a normal movie. And he was like, okay, working within the constraints of the budget, I will make a good movie. And then it turned out to be a great movie. And then they were like, you know what? Do all the crazy shit you want to do in the last one. We don't even care. You're going to make us $1 billion. We're going to Heath Ledger. It's going to be amazing. But yeah, it's a great movie.
It's a phenomenal movie.
It really is good. Love the look of the motorcycle. The motorcycle's really cool looking. Who else is in this? Aaron Eckhart. What do you think of Aaron Eckhart?
I think he's great. Besides the fact that Two-Face should not be in this movie, what he does is very good, and I
like him. I like him as District Attorney Harvey Dent. Plenty. I wish they had made this movie and waited, and then he had like kind of turned Two-Face maybe in the end, and then the next movie they brought Tommy Lee Jones back, and they were like, "This is Two-Face. You all know him from." This is what he looks like, guys. Or Billy D. Williams. This would have been perfect. Just pretend Aaron Eckhart was Billy D. Williams the whole time. Yeah, I think he's good. I think what's her name is better. I think Meg Gyllenhaal's better than Katie Holmes, like for this Rachel role. She's like a solid contender. Yeah, it's a good movie. Very, very, very good movie.
It deserves everything it won. I don't know what it won. I think Heath Ledger got a posthumous Oscar.
Yeah, he did.
What do you think won Best Movie that year? Probably something that didn't deserve it.
Let me think. I'm sure I know this. I used to really pay attention to this garbage. God. Was it Departed? No, it wouldn't have been. That was 2010.
I need the 2009 Academy Awards.
Yeah. Okay, movies that came out in 2008. See it, Heath Ledger. I know Tropic Thunder was that year. I think Downey also got a nomination for it, which wonderful.
Should have won.
God, it's not The Artist. That was 2010. Oh God, can you give me a hint? Is it a movie people care about today? It would stand the test of time.
No.
It's a big piece of crap.
It's not a big piece of crap, but I don't think it has any. Like, it means nothing today.
Yeah.
Oh wow, Dark Knight wasn't even nominated. Wow.
No, they didn't do it. And then after this, they opened it up to 10, like 10 guys because of this. All right, give me.
So let me throw this out there. Like everything that was nominated was kind of terrible.
I believe it. That happens a lot because award shows are garbage, a huge waste of everyone's time. Unless I'm nominated for one, then maybe we've got something there. Oh God, I really can't even think. All right, I don't know. Give me a hint.
I can't think of a hint that doesn't immediately. So it won the award for like it's a cultural movie, and all of the other movies are kind of just about white people's. Yeah.
Yep. I forgot about that.
There you go.
Yep.
What gave it away?
I honestly, I was just, in my brain, I knew there was some musical element of it, and I couldn't put it down because I kept getting stuck on Les Mis, and I was like, it wasn't Les Mis. That was way earlier or way later. But what was it that had some sort of? We were all dancing to some. I mean, it's fine. That movie's fine. Danny Boyle's good. He should direct a James Bond movie.
When are we getting the next James Bond movie? With the lady.
Like next year. With the 2020. It's called You Can't Never Die Once or some nonsense like that.
No, it's not.
Yep.
No, it's
me
not.
Me and Bond Die No Me. That's what they're calling it.
God.
Yep, they're working in as many me's as possible. It's me, Bondio. Hoo-hoo. It's got him, it's got Rami Malek, it's got some other guys. Who cares? Batista's probably not in it. I'm not tired of James Bond movies because I love James Bond movies, but after this last one, man, I'm fine with us really hard rebooting this series because Spectre was no bueno. If anybody really wants to, if you want to get a movie that would be fun for us to nitpick if you win the pool, Spectre.
Oh, yeah.
Dumb as hell. I absolutely hate it. No, it's fine. All right, what's next week? What are we doing next week? The Arkham series?
Yeah. Mostly Arkham City.
Yeah.
Mostly City, because City's like the big one, right?
Yeah, there's a little bit of story there's a fair amount of story in Origins, but you don't need it. And then there's a little bit more story in Arkham Knight. We're relating specifically to Joker. But yeah, the big Joker is in Arkham City. It's such a good game. Except for the Hugo Strange bullshit. It's such a good game. Except for that Ra's al Ghul is hiding in the sewer. It is such a good game. The sewer bullshit. Oh my God. Just like, it was... It's like Speed. If they don't put in a new classic Batman villain every 15 seconds, the video game explodes. So just like, how can we possibly put Talia al Ghul in this guy? I guess she's gonna live in the sewers of the Arkham. It's a great game. All right, DJ, you want to get to our classics? Oh, wait. Sorry. Okay, so I cannot find this tweet. Please, if you're the person that tweeted it to us, retweet it to me because I have a bunch of like places where it could be. However, I would say the idea in general was we should rate these like Jokers not on a series of just yo-hos, but we should do yo-hos specifically for different things, right? So like one of them was laugh, so just rate them on their Joker laugh, and one of them was like plan maybe, and one of them was like jokes. I forget, but there were three things, and we'll go back and do them all retroactively once I figure out what these were. But how would you rank Heath Ledger's Joker in yo-hos, in just his performance? He's the best one, right, so far?
Yeah, I'm giving him 10 yo-hos.
Oh my God, that's so many yo-hos.
9.5.
You gave the 10. Your 10 are out there. And I'm not gonna, there's a small overdraft fee for if you decide to give 11 yo-hos to a Joker later on. But maybe it'll be worth it. Who knows? How many yo-hos would you give this Joker based on his like jokeriness and like silliness and stuff?
Oh, like 2 yo-hos. He's very not silly.
He does a magic trick with a pencil. It's not really his thing.
That was so cool. The whole theater erupted when I saw that. I remember the whole theater was like, whoa!
I know. And I agree. But also, like, what the hell, man? None of that makes any sense. The pencil would have to be it would have to be a steel pencil to blast through a guy's skull and kill him? Have you seen those pictures of guys that get like a railroad spike accidentally shoved through their head and they live for like years and years, not even knowing it's there? Like it's like Ripley's Believe It or Not. And this guy's like, pencil, oh no, a fatal wound. Number 2 pencil even. There was no chance for my goon. And Gamble just sits there and takes it. Like,
Yeah.
it's almost like
Like a
the Joker,
fool.
like, opens up his jacket and shows, like, 15 or 16 pencils, and Gamble's like, oh, never mind. This guy's serious. He means
This
business.
guy means business.
He can pencil us anywhere. Yeah. So the closest I would say this Joker got to, like, goofy Jokerness, and this is some pretty surface level goofy Jokerness, is when he has that van when he's about to do some good old bazookaing, and it says laughter, DJ, but then he's also added
slaughter.
a slaughter to it. Oh, well then.
What a tricky boy.
Isn't that a take? Well, he's a psychological cerebral character. What about his laugh? Where'd you put him out of 10 yo-hos on the laugh?
6. Give him 6 yo-hos for the laugh.
I think his laugh is pretty good. I would give, so general performance 10, what is it, Jokeriness like 4. I would give his laugh like a 7. I think it beats the shit out of Jack Nicholson. I don't think it's very much. I would give Hamill a 9, and then I would give Romero like a 6.
7, yeah, 6 or 7.
You know what? I would tie Romero with Ledger. I would say their laughs are equally good. Like I said, Jack Nicholson's is terrible. I have a feeling Jared Leto is going to get a 1 in every single category, and I cannot remember what the rest of them are, or what's his name's like Lego Batman movie Joker's laugh is. But yeah, I think this was good. And from what I've heard, listen, say what you will about the Joker movie, but that laugh is pretty solid.
Oh yeah, Joaquin Phoenix
from that trailer. He really nailed the laugh, and it seems like laugh's a big part of it. All right, DJ, do you want to get to our classic segment?
I think so.
All right, so DJ, what do you got to rec to the fine people?
All right, so I finished The Boys. Oh my god, it's so good. Everyone's
so good.
Drop what you're doing and watch it. You already own Amazon Prime, so you got that taken care of.
That's true.
So
it's the best movie or show and movie, as far as I'm concerned.
Look at it as an 8-hour movie. That's what they did with that OJ documentary. It's an 8-hour movie. Enjoy your Oscar. That was weird, if anyone remember that's happening. So I know I said The Boys last week, but for real, The Boys this week. But that's not all. Also, I saw on Broadway Ain't Too Proud, which is the musical about the Temptations. It's good.
Yeah, love
quite
Motown.
Good.
Nice.
Yeah, so get your good Motown fix in there. Do I have anything else good? Just kidding. Do I have anything else, though? Oh, The Good Place Season 3 is now on Netflix, so if you're like that whole season behind thing, watch that. The Good Place is always phenomenal, but I've also recommended that before. Season 4 is the last season. So yeah, that's like super sad because I love that show. But
nah, it's how you got to do it, man. Finish before it's terrible. Don't do 15 seasons of Good Place and then everyone hates it, and then it's like, well, I guess we're done now.
I mean, I know you're right, but still.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's about all I have. I should have different stuff next week. I plan on seeing a couple movies this weekend, and
nice.
I feel like I haven't gone to the movies in forever, so I'll be back with that next week. But yeah, The Boys and The Good Place. The Good Boys Place. Recommend those so highly. Yeah, recommendation.
Finally, a good place for the boys.
Yeah.
I mean, I could recommend both of those. I co-sign that. I feel like I definitely recommended The Boys. I probably recommended Good Place at some point, because I've been watching it for a while, but who knows. I'm going to give a super half-hearted rec to a movie I watched this weekend called Long Shot.
Okay.
DJ, you heard of this one?
No.
So it's Seth Rogen
Oh, is
and
the Seth
Charlize
Rogen?
Theron.
Yeah,
Yes.
I just got there.
Have you watched it?
No.
It's pretty funny. I mostly actually really liked it, and like I was like, oh yeah, cool, this is really funny. And then at the end, man, boy did it lose me. No. I'll explain off air why, but I like it had so much promise. Besides that, I've watched. I know, and I like. It was fun, and I love Charlize Theron. I think she's so funny, and I think this role was great for her. And I think the supporting cast was also pretty funny. It really is just one decision that they made, and I couldn't stand. But I will say I'll give a wholehearted rec to have started maybe 4 episodes into it, however many episodes long this season of Mindhunters is. I want to say like David Fincher fake semi-real history of serial killer show on Netflix, which I usually could not care less about true crime and serial killers and all that, but I think this is terrific. It's really. Have you ever watched it? This is the 2nd season, so the first one came out I think a year ago.
No, I have not.
Have you heard the pitch at all or anything like that?
I don't think so, actually.
Okay, so here's like the really basic one. So the show's set in like I want to say 70s. And it's like this guy who, God, I forget exactly how it starts, but basically a seasoned FBI agent teams up with like an FBI agent who's got a real background in like criminal psychology. And they try to tackle this problem that no one in the bureau's really considered, which is what if one guy killed a bunch of people over a long period of time because he's weird, right? Like, instead of just like these mass murderers, it's like, what if this guy thinks that he has to kill a person every day and send police notes and stuff? Like, serial killers just weren't a thing that anyone believed existed. And this guy like kind of figures it out. And it's this team of two FBI agents plus this I think she's a professor when the show starts, that they rope into it. It's them creating the behavioral like investigations division of the FBI, and it's fictional, but they will interview real serial killers that actually were interviewed, and you can listen to the interviews and see like this is what the Kemper sounds like in real life, and this is what the actor sounds like, and it's so dead on. It's crazy. It's by, like I said, I believe it's by David Fincher, who I might butcher this, but I'm pretty sure he's the guy that did like Fight Club and like Social Network, and let's double check this. But if it is the same guy, he's got a very specific kind of air of like movie he creates. You know what I mean? Like that dark kind of everybody's pet. Yeah. So he's the executive producer of Mindhunter. I want to say it. He directed it. Yeah. So he's directed half of the episodes of the show, maybe. Direct like Gone Girl, Social Network, Girl with the Dragon Tattoo, Zodiac. You know, it's very Zodiac. If you've ever seen that with like Jake Gyllenhaal and Robert Downey Jr.
I have not, actually.
That's fine. Or not Jake Gyllenhaal. Sorry. Jake Gyllenhaal. But it's not. I think it's kind of meandering. But I think this show in general, I really enjoy. So it gets like, you know, gets gory at parts, but I wouldn't say it's super heavy on that. It's not indulgent in the way that a lot of these serial killer kind of true crime shows really, where they lose me. I would say if you think you'll enjoy that kind of thing, give it a watch. DJ, next week, a fantastic little movie called all of the Batman games, but mostly Arkham City.
We haven't done a video game since Heavy Rain. It's so exciting.
And
this is a turn for us.
This one's going to be fun. I'm very excited.
Return to video games. That was stupid. Anyway.
Do you, can I take 2 minutes? Let's say, okay, let's do all the plugs, and then I'm going to spend 2 minutes talking about the potential leaked plot of Birds of Prey, which is like spoilery,
please.
so that's why we'll do the plugs. All right. First of all, DJ, plug the Survivor pool, because we might be able to still do that.
So I'll retweet it, or the Mostly Nitpicking account. We'll have the link. You might be able to search for ESPN groups, Mostly Nitpicking, but it's a Survivor pool. Join before Sunday. If you win, we will actually review a movie of your choice. We swear.
Yeah.
It's happening.
It's happening.
So definitely check that out. That's all I got for plugs. So yeah.
All right. I'm probably gonna have a video out on why The Defenders is bad. So that'll be out. That's fun. I like it. And then that's gonna start my like Defenders series of movies. It's gonna be great. Or like videos, but besides that, yeah, nothing but the pool, Go Saints, Who Dat, all that stuff. Okay, Birds of Prey. So this is, I'm gonna say spoiler warning, although it's very unlikely that this will be like the real movie, so either someone made this all up, or this is something that was in the works for this movie, was shot, was screened for test audiences hated, and will not be in the final cut of this movie. So I legitimately don't think knowing this ruins the movie for you. The only way it will is if the movie is bad and you're like, man, they should have gone for it. They should have done that thing that they were maybe going to do. So fair warning, that's what this is.
Okay.
Can you sum up the Birds of Prey, kind of like what that is in this? Do you know very much about this movie?
Is it February? It's like the Harley Quinn Poison Ivy?
No. But you're not wrong. That was going to be Gotham City Sirens.
That's right. Yeah.
Birds of Prey was supposed to be like Huntress, Black Canary, Batwoman, and maybe Batgirl. But it seems like what they did was just jam those two movies together and said Harley Quinn plus all the Birds of Prey characters, and then that's this movie. Because I wish they made the Sirens. I think the Sirens movie might be more interesting than Birds of Prey, just in theory.
Right.
Because I love Batman villains. But yeah, so it's it's like some sort of team of like anti-hero, Batman adjacent female characters from like Gotham City. And like I said, it's the Huntress, who is a mob boss's daughter who uses crossbows. She's got kind of not really a Catwoman-y vibe, but she's not good, not bad, kind of all sides of the law. Black Canary, who is like I don't even know what she is, but I think at some point she's a lounge singer, but eventually she has like a supersonic scream that she can kill people with. Harley Quinn, we know who she is. And then like, I can never quite figure this out, but like Cassandra Cain, I think one of the Bat women, but I think a different one than the one you're used to that's Batwoman. I don't know. And Renee Montoya, who's like a policeman. All we know about the movie is Harley Quinn is the main character, it seems like. And Black Mask, Roman Sionis, played by Ewan McGregor, is the villain. And also, I forget what actor, but Mr. Zaz is in there as well. That's more or less all we knew about in the movie. Like, just from the trailer, not even the trailers, like the trailer's out, but from like images and stuff. But yeah, so do you know anything else about this? Have you heard anything?
No, I haven't like read anything about this or anything like that.
Okay, so
okay,
according to the rumors, and like I said, it seems like they are either walking this back or this was never the story. The plan for the movie, the plot of the movie was these three main characters, or four, I guess. Huntress, Black Canary, Poison Ivy, or not Poison Ivy, now you got me saying it. Huntress, Black Canary, Harley Quinn, and Renee Montoya team up because this kid, Cassandra Cain, I think, because there's Cassandra Cain and there's Kate Cain. I think Kate Cain's the adult. And Cassandra Cain is like an 8-year-old or something. Swallows a diamond that is Black Mask's. Like, Black Mask owns this diamond. Okay. And it's like, he wants it back and he's trying to kill this kid, and they're like, no, we have to protect the kid. Not an unreasonable story, not breaking any new ground. What it turns out is actually happening is, and I don't completely understand this, and in the course of the movie, I'm sure this will be more of a visual thing. Black Mask has inside of the diamond either hid a file containing or some sort of like micro printed physical dick pic. And that's why he wants the diamond back so badly. Yes. And
no, it can't be.
Okay. All right. We'll go one step further. In the movie, Black Mask is... So this one, I'm not sure of the degree to, although the way people were describing it to me on this stream the other day, it seems like Black Mask is gay in this movie and in a relationship with Victor Zsasz. So...
All right.
That is, so what I kind of got from some of the articles was such an objectionable performance for like the LGBTQ community that people were just like, well, this can't be it. We got to tone this one down. The dick pic seems like it was maybe just an innocent bystander of this whole situation, but it also seems like now he'll just be after a diamond. But it seems like in general, they're going to tone down Black Mask's sexuality, which could have been amazing. Like, I can't, I just all right. I like a fucking dick pic in a diamond.
That is crazy.
I know. How do you even fit it in there? What does that even mean? Like, and
it's 2019, like, or 2020, whatever. It's like it's on the cloud or something.
My mind is blown. And I like when I kind of got this explained to me, I did a little bit of Googling, and it seems like that's some like there have been leaks that a test screening. There have been leaks from a test screening that have been somewhat substantiated, and that's what these reshoots are dealing with now. Like, there's reshoots to fix this.
I can't imagine why.
And the trailer for this movie comes out like tomorrow because it's coming out with it. And the movie comes out in February, which is like 5 months from now, which is pretty quick on reshoots. So not great. But I really want to see this cut of the movie. If there's anybody out there that can link it to me, I promise I will never tell anybody about it. I would just watch it and then I'll never mention it. But I really, 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 really want to see it. So please send me that copy if you have it. But yeah, all right. Amazing. I'll send you. There's like not like
that's
a plot
crazy.
Summary, but I saw a Reddit leak. I mean, I'm sure if you Google dick pic Black Mask, you'll find it.
I don't Google that.
Google it. The other thing that's terrible about it, honestly, even worse than all the rest of the stuff, and the thing that would make me want, because like I don't have a huge opinion on this representation of the Black Mask or whatever in terms of the LGBTQ representation, but apparently he doesn't wear the mask, so why are we bothering? He's Black Mask. He wears a mask. It's in his name. I understand not wanting, Bane to dress up like a wrestler, but the whole concept behind this character is he is a gangster who realized the value in putting on a physical mask, and he is the Batman of gangsters. So what are we doing? Like, what's the point? But yeah, so if you look it up, this seems to have something to do with the according to this Reddit thing, there's a dick pic in here. Yeah, and
that's weird. It's really weird.
Here's the other thing from the thing. And again, this is mostly Reddit, so who knows? But people think it's real. Harley apparently narrates the film in the style of Deadpool, and it's said to be almost slapstick, like a Tarantino movie on acid. So, and it's funny because there's all these rumors of reshoots, and like, oh, they're reshooting the movie, and it seems like it's because like, oh, it's too edgy for audience. Like, your Joker movie comes out in a week. Wait, see how people respond to that.
Yeah,
maybe that's what they want. Like, you've already committed, and it seems like this Joker thing is gonna pay off. So, like, yeah, go for it, whatever. But I don't know what they're up to. It really seems bizarre. Yeah, so enjoy that. But we'll see. And yeah, what else? Anything else, DJ? Nothing to plug, nothing at all?
Nah, I'm tapped out. That's all I got.
All right, cool, man. Well, until next week for all the Arkham games, mostly Arkham City, I am at Nando V Movies on Twitter.
I'm at Zippy by Day.
Goodbye, everybody. Goodbye.
Peace.